There's no reason why they should be trans. They just want to be trans because they just want to be trans. That's the second type of person. And that's like, what? You don't have to put your life on hardcore mode. You don't have to do any of this. But they're like, oh, I want to do it. The whole point of being trans is to get to a normal state of mind and then assimilate in society and just be like a working member. I don't want to say they're fake trans because they're still trans. Maybe they are dysphoric or something. We're definitely, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. Type 2. And we don't really have research on type 2. Alright, here's a very controversial take. Not really a take, it's more of an observation of what I see about trans people. In my opinion, there's two types of trans people. One, the first type of trans person is a person who experiences dysphoria. They have a discomfort. Something in their brain isn't wired correctly that doesn't match with their body, and stuff like that happens. Trans people exist, and it can be scientifically proven, analyzed, and then we can find a way to alleviate it. So the first type of person has dysphoria. We can alleviate that. That makes sense. The mind doesn't match the body or whatever, so that we try to make it work out. So like the brain isn't really wired correctly, so we're gonna make it work out and then the person can live a normal life. The second type of person is somebody who self-proclaims to be trans. They don't seek to reach a level of normal, like to be normal or like alleviation. They don't have anything like in their head that tells them that they need to do this. They just want to be trans because they just want to be trans. That's the second type of person. There's no reason why they should be trans except that they want to. They're not trying to alleviate anything. They're not trying to reach a certain level of like normality. And there's like the category 2 type of person that most like anti-trans, transphobic people talk about. That's what gets a lot of like trans people in trouble. There's the type 2. Most trans people are probably going to be number 1. The reason why they're trans is because they're trying to alleviate something that's going on in their brain. And type 2, it's just kind of like there's no reason for it besides that they want to. It's fashion. It could be fashion or something, but it can be any reason besides trying to alleviate something. That's what confuses me. Now, transphobes will think of 1 and 2 are the same. Yes, but at least with 1, there's scientific evidence. We can evaluate someone to see if they're actually trans or not. There's scientific evidence. That's the thing. We have that to fall on. And number 2 is kind of like they just feel like it. And that's like, what? You don't have to put your life on hardcore mode. You don't have to do any of this. But they're like, oh, I want to do it. And it's like, why? There wasn't evidence for 1 until recently. Yes and no. It depends what you consider. Because like a person type 1 who is dysphoric will feel alleviated as they transition. They'll feel normal. The whole point of being trans is to get to a normal state of mind and then assimilate in society and just be like a working member. That's the whole point of type 1, is that you're dysphoric and you're trying to alleviate it. If that's not evidence enough and you're gonna be like, oh, they're just faking it, that makes no sense. Why would you fake it that far? So the two types of people exist, and this type 2, the people that just feel like being trans for no reason, no problems or anything. I think it's a lot of trans people that are type 1 dysphoric, all in like a lot of trouble. I don't want to say they're fake trans because they're still trans. Maybe they are dysphoric or something, but it's just, I don't know. It's hard. Is number 2 bad? It's not necessarily bad, but we're not ready for it. We're definitely, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. Type 2. And we don't really have research on type 2. It's just someone's like, I'm trans now for no reason. It's like, you're just gonna discredit all the other trans people. There are different types of trans people, but the haters don't know or care. The haters don't know or care. But the thing is, if somebody doesn't care, our ammunition to fire back at them is to say there's scientific evidence. Type 1, dysphoric. They get alleviation from transitioning, and then they're trying to reach a level of being normal. They reach the point of being normal and everything is fine. Does that make sense? At least you can say that and then talk about that and show them facts and evidence on that instead of just being like, oh, they're just trans. What's wrong? They're just trans. Transphobes don't believe in science. Facts and logic don't convince people who really don't want to believe something. It's true, but at least if I say like 1 + 1 = 2, I can like prove it to you. Even if you're like,
No, it doesn't equal 2.
it's still like, okay, but like, why? And then what are they gonna say? They're just gonna make something up. And it's like, no, I can show you that 1 + 1 and I can work out the math and introduce you to that and kind of work it out. They may not get it, but at least we know that logically we are correct. Logically, it makes sense. The thing is that people enjoy being dumb. That's the problem. Not enjoy being dumb. They're just stubborn and being right. Now that I met a lot of trans who just like wearing clothes, the opposite gender. They don't believe they are the opposite gender. They just like wearing clothes. That's fine. But those people aren't probably gonna change their name and everything to go with it. They're probably not gonna get any medical surgeries to help them with their transition. They're probably just doing it because it's cool. Those aren't really like trans people. Those are what you just said. They could be known as cross-dressers. They just do it because it's fun. You can prove gravity. Whether you disagree or not, we can prove it. But yeah, that's my hot take.